The Avengers Doomsday trailer is finally here, and I felt nothing. Not excitement, not curiosity, not even that little spark of maybe Marvel's back. Nothing. I almost felt guilty about it. 10 years ago, a new Avengers trailer was an event. I'd watch it frame by frame, searching for hidden details, arguing with strangers online, and counting down the days. This time, I just sat there. And it's not that the trailer was bad. Marvel actually learned some lessons here. They're holding back surprises instead of spoiling the entire movie in 2 minutes. No Spider-Man, no Wolverine reveal, no Deadpool. Thor is back, the X-Men are finally making their Avengers debut, and Doom hangs over everything. On paper, this should have worked on me. Instead, I kept coming back to one thought: the new Avengers. Lady Black Panther, Papa Doc, Yelena standing in for Natasha, one replacement after another. None of them feel like the next generation. They feel like substitutes. And every time I look at them, I think about how we got here. Marvel spent years trying to recreate lightning in a bottle by swapping costumes instead of building new icons. Hand someone the shield, the hammer, the suit, and we're supposed to care as much as we cared about Steve or Tony. That's not how it works. And whenever audiences pushed back, Marvel rarely asked if the movies simply weren't good. It was sexism, racism, review bombing, anything except maybe She-Hulk wasn't very good. So when I felt nothing watching this trailer, it bothered me because there was a time when that would have been impossible. Where it started there. My love for Marvel began with Spider-Man, like it does for a lot of kids. One character became 10, and I fell into this universe of heroes, villains, and stories bigger than anything else out there. Then in 2008, the thing I'd spent years reading became the biggest movie franchise on the planet. Midnight premieres, message board theories, arguments about Red Skull and Infinity Stones. Every detail mattered because Marvel had earned our trust that it would all pay off. The MCU wasn't just a franchise, it was a cultural event. Everyone had seen the new Marvel movie by Monday. Theaters exploded when Cap lifted Thor's hammer. Not every movie was great. Nobody has Thor, The Dark World, in their top 5. But it didn't matter. We trusted the bigger picture. We trusted Feige. There was always another movie, another theory, another post-credit scene. The cracks Growly tweeter. Looking back, it started around Captain Marvel, not because of Brie Larson, but because that's when the conversation stopped being about the movie and became about the discussion around it. Culture war stuff, identity politics. Marvel became part of the fight instead of staying outside it. Then Endgame had that all-female team-up shot, the one that felt like Disney executives were standing just off camera congratulating themselves. Everyone agreed it felt awkward. But Marvel had a decade of trust built up. One clumsy scene wasn't enough to destroy that. The trilogy of terror, then the dam broke. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness should have been impossible to mess up. Raimi, Strange, Wanda, the multiverse. And instead, Strange wasn't even the main character in his own movie. Thor Love and Thunder undercut every emotional moment with a joke, wasting Christian Bale in the process. And She-Hulk might be one of the worst things Marvel has released, period. 3 projects, 3 directors, the same dull impact. A decade of goodwill disappeared almost overnight. It didn't end there. Wakanda Forever tried to deal with grief, continue the franchise, and build the future all at once, and it collapsed under the pressure. Then Quantumania happened, and Kang, the guy meant to become the next Thanos, the villain designed to carry 3 phases, was defeated by nerdy socialist ants. Then the Marvels made an already struggling franchise feel even more directionless. Deadpool and Wolverine brought some energy back for 2 hours. Then Brave New World, a $500 million reshoot machine, reminded everyone that Marvel still didn't know where it was going. Real life caught up with it too. Jonathan Majors, the actor playing Kang, was arrested on serious charges. Instead of recasting, Marvel removed the character entirely, the supposed center of the entire multiverse saga, gone after 1 season of Loki. Imagine if they had quietly removed Thanos halfway through the Infinity Saga. That's what happened here, and it's a major reason the multiverse saga never had a backbone. The rules were already flexible, variants and incursions appearing whenever the story needed them. And now the villain was gone too. They were building the plane while flying it, because they were. Borrowing the comics' mistakes. A lot of people don't realize how much the MCU takes from modern comics. The first Avengers movie borrowed heavily from the Ultimates, and Secret Wars will draw from Hickman's run. But that also meant bringing in storylines that had already failed. Replacement heroes, legacy characters, and new versions of old icons that comic readers had already rejected. These weren't forgotten masterpieces. Building your biggest franchise around rejected ideas is creative bankruptcy. Marvel seemed to believe the shield, hammer, or suit was what made these characters special. But nobody loved Steve Rogers because of the shield. They loved Steve. You can't shortcut that. You have to earn it. That's what made the Infinity Saga work. And instead of asking why fans weren't connecting, Marvel looked elsewhere. Misogyny, racism, if you don't like this, you're the problem. Diversity stopped being a creative choice and became a shield against criticism, which honestly does a disservice to both the characters and the audience. The panic button. Deadpool and Wolverine became the Multiverse Saga's biggest success, built around Hugh Jackman. Then Robert Downey Jr. returned, not as Iron Man, but as Doom. After years of saying the future was about new heroes, their biggest move was bringing back the person who left. Fine, that's what fans wanted since Phase 3. But it took the entire multiverse saga falling apart to get there. Back to the trailer. So here we are. After the cracks, the trilogy of terror, the major situation, and years of avoiding criticism, the Doomsday trailer arrives. And I feel nothing. You get disappointed enough times, and eventually, you stop caring. It's not just that it killed my excitement for the new stuff, it changed how I view the old stuff, too. The Infinity Saga used to feel untouchable. Now it's connected with everything that came after. But here's what really got me. Look at who's front and center in this trailer: Thor, Doom, the X-Men, Fantastic Four. The new Avengers are technically there, but they're background noise in what's supposed to be their era. That's not an accident. Marvel knows exactly who gets people excited. They just spent 5 years pretending otherwise. Maybe this really is the reset the franchise needs. I hope it is. I've never wanted Marvel to fail. Maybe Doomsday is the beginning of something new. I'd love to leave that theater feeling the way I used to. I miss caring about this stuff, but a trailer alone isn't enough to bring that back anymore.